Discovery services is an important part of an asset management strategy. With discovery services, you can discover devices while they are on the network and update the asset management database. The discovery services that we offer are both agentless and agent-based. Unmanaged device discovery is how we can discover devices on the network without requiring any sort of an agent. We can scan the network several ways. We can put in an IP address range, and then we can just ping sweep the network, and we will find any device within that IP range. Unmanaged device discovery can do an ICMP ping sweep, but it can also look at an NT domain, or it can make LDAP calls so that devices can be added from different data sources. We can also discover machines through WMI services or SNMP. Now, we also can put an agent down onto the machine. When we deploy an agent to a machine, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the inventory is collected on a regular basis. So just out of the box, we are going to collect that inventory probably every 8 hours, but you can change these settings and you can schedule the inventory to run on an event. For example, if an IP address changes on a machine, or if a user logs in, we can run an inventory scan on the machine and then send any changes that have been made to that machine. For example, if a new software application was installed, or if there was a configuration change to the machine, such as the IP address, we will capture those settings and update the inventory database. We will only send the updates and not the entire inventory every time we do this. If you want to change the settings in the scheduler, simply click Change Settings. Agent-based discovery gives us a lot more information than an agentless-based discovery. Let's take a look at one of the machine's inventories, and you can see here that there is a lot of different pieces that are discovered, both hardware and software. So you can see, for example, that I can discover BIOS settings, and I can see all of the things set up in the BIOS. So I can, with this inventory information, pick up information that if I needed to, I can pick up information right out of the BIOS. We've had instances where there have been a defective battery, a defective part in a device. We can discover machines with defective parts if need be. So you could, using the inventory scanner, you'd be able to go through and see the device ID, the type of battery, things like that. Another thing we'll do when we have an agent on there is we'll pick up monitors, for example, or direct attach printers that connect into the computer that we are scanning. So when I highlight this machine here, you can see that I have a serial number. This is a Panasonic monitor, and year 2011. So you can see a little, some of the information right here. So agent-based discovery is going to give me a lot of hardware information, but it also gives me a lot of software information as well. Now the software is a little more challenging because there's a lot of ways that you can look at software. So we actually look at several things. We'll look at the packages that were installed, and you can see that it can be quite messy. So after we go through and we collect all of this software, we might look at add and remove programs as another place. You can see once again, there's a lot of data in there. So we will run this data that we collect for software. We're going to run it through something we call data translation services, or through our data analytics, which normalizes the asset information. What you don't want is you don't want to have the data go into your asset management system. You don't want that to be incorrect. That data has to be accurate, or it's just not going to be useful to you. So what we have to do with things like software is we have to normalize that software so you're not getting incorrect reports. So in here we have many different rules that are created, and these rules simply go through and normalize data. So here I've got normalized software package names, and this is a rule in here. It's an ongoing rule, and what we do is we just go through the data, and we will update the actual backend database fields to represent a name of the software package name. And so as you can see here, I have Acrobat. If I look under Acrobat, I have Adobe Acrobat 5, 6, all of that can fall under Acrobat. So I can, when I do the discovery, now I can see, I could do a search, or if you were doing an SQL query, you'd be able to search for Acrobat and you could get all these things, or you could find them individually as well. So normalizing the data is really taking subcomponents and moving them into, or creating another field and linking that field to them so that you can get a normalized list of all of the products that you have and all of the vendors as well. So that's pretty much it for the discovery part of it. You do have the ability in here with these queries, when you do use these discovery services, to organize the data in many different ways. Let's take a look at one of these query groups here. We can see that I have certain query groups. I'm just dividing those machines up by manufacturers. So I've got HP machines, Gateway machines, Fujitsu machines. All of these are dynamic queries. You see nothing shows up in the field here. When I double click on it, it will populate this field. So now I can look at the data that's been scanned, and I could make changes to the data, or it may just be for informational purposes as you divide up the data or the assets and to view them how you want. You can use these groups as target groups if you do decide to expand the discovery services with delivery services. So you can update the machines if you need to and populate them with software or updates to software if required. These queries are very easy to create. You simply create the query by, it's all graphical, and these are just SQL backend scripts here, but you give it a name and then you decide what you're going to look for or how you want to group it. So if I wanted to say I'm just looking for a certain type of machine, I could say here that I'm going to look for all of my servers. And so I just say it's equal to server, computer type is equal to server, and I insert that, and there, that is an SQL query right there. Now for my output, I would also, since I already have type in here, what I would like to do is I'd like to see if I've been able to pick up a serial number from these servers. Let's say I'm looking for a specific serial number. I can add that in as my output. I can save this, and then I can run this report, this group here, and you can see that I do have 2 servers with serial numbers. So this is a nice benefit of the discovery services here, is that you can view and look at the data and even normalize the data by creating rules to map data, create new fields or properties associated with the assets if needed to, and then you can bring them into the asset management database.